Okay, I really wanted to talk to you, Penny, about two of the girls, the embroidery girls that work at the workshop. You did a beautiful Instagram post the other day on the Zanana Women Instagram page, and it's Sunny and Sarita. Can you please tell us their story, because
it's a lovely story.
It is a lovely story, but I think it's a really important cultural story to share, but it also shows, I guess, the nurturing space that the workshop provides as well.
Well, thank you. Because these things just come along. These are people and human lives. But we actually, at that time, Sonny and Sarita are the younger two of four sisters.
Yeah.
And their two older sisters were working with us, who have since both left to get married. But at that time, the two older sisters were there. And they asked if I happened to be there, which was wonderful. And they asked if they could bring the younger sisters along because they needed to work too. And the background of the family is that there are only four sisters. There are no boys. And in their particular community, quite common in the lower socioeconomic groups in India, a boy is the thing you want because a boy will support you in your old age. A boy is the person who looks after his parents. A girl marries into a family and looks after her husband's parents, generally, and his family. So with four girls, there was no brother to care for their parents, and her father was ill. He's also not young, and so they couldn't support the girls anymore going to school. One was in year 9 and one was in year 10, so the younger one, Sonny, had just turned 16, I think. So they were just of legal employable age, but of course to have them come and say, we're going to leave school and we want to work with you, really wrenched at me, because education is so valuable, and particularly for women, and I would have loved them to have stayed in school, but it was never going to happen. The family needed the money, and they were going to go and work somewhere.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, come and work with us, but on one condition, that you go to school part-time out of hours. And they agreed to do that. I look back and I wonder why, but I think partly because they were coming to work with their sisters, and it was known to be a safe workplace for young girls. Yeah. And the family would have wanted them all together, and so they agreed to it. And over the next 2 years... I mean,
that in itself, I guess, is a rare kind of situation, that they could all work together. Or...
I don't know. But I think probably. But for us, that's important, and we always accept, people who want to bring along family members and whatever. Yeah. But anyway, getting back to them, they did. They studied and they passed in year 11 and year 12, and I thought, well, how do I manage this? I want to reward them for doing that, and so Pragya and I agreed that at the end of each year or each semester, when they had passed exams, we would repay them the cost of their fees for the school. So they were working, and if they passed, they were not out of pocket to do what we had asked them to do, which was to go to school. And because they did both pass, they both have year 12 qualifications. And
they were earning money.
And they were earning money. So the family had what it needed. They weren't losing money because the girls were passing and we were paying it back. And all the four sisters were working together, and it was now I can't believe how long ago that was, but they're like the stalwarts of the workshop. I don't know that they are the first of the ones to come, but they're very early, and I was trying to think, gosh, they must be heading for 6 or 7 years now, which means that they didn't get married at 19. They weren't pushed by economic stances into marriage. And while both of the older sisters have been married, I thought, wow, that means that they are having some real options.
And I guess because it started when they were younger as well, that it did empower them in maybe a crucial time.
Possibly, yeah. And yet they're so different from each other. You know, the older one, Sarita, doesn't that much enjoy embroidery, and so she has become our stock control person.
Yeah.
And of course they're literate and numerate, which makes a huge difference, and many of the women are totally uneducated who work with us. But she could use what she'd learned, and so she keeps all the records.
Yeah.
Whereas Sonny just loves embroidery, and she does the most exquisite embroidery.
Oh, wow.
And she doesn't want to do anything else. She doesn't want to learn how to sew or anything.
I love that, but that's her decision to make.
Yeah.